The Flamekeeper seal takes about 8 to 10 targeted hours of efficient gameplay in order to get and guild. In this video, I want to go over kind of all of the tips and tricks that we amassed and found out last night while doing this entire seal in one sitting. So it is doable. You can definitely get this done before the end of the event. There are a lot of challenges here that they just kind of they're super easy and they just happen. So like defeat targets anywhere in the system, solar abilities, super abilities, defeat combatants or guardians with power ammo, hand cannons, shotgun kills, anything like that, bosses anywhere in the system. This stuff is just going to happen. So while you are doing all of this, make sure you have a shotgun equipped, a hand cannon equipped, and a solar subclass, and you're getting just ability and super kills. Pretty easy. It's not that bad at all. The things for like complete the bonfire bash activity, defeat ignition carriers, stoke the flames, even more flames, and all that sort of stuff, collect silver ash, that's just going to happen as you are upgrading your armor set. So you don't have to target focus any of that either. Torch the Taken is a challenge a lot of people have been having problems with because they are saying it's bugged. It's not. This is very hard to get. You only have 5 chances to get a quote unquote taken defeated every single bonfire bash. So that's going to be the final boss, and you have to get the final blow on the final boss for it to count on for this triumph. And then also, there are 2 kind of Taken rounds that happen during Bonfire Bash where the world goes dark and Taken spawn and a Blight spawns. There will be 2 major Taken. They will be marked with an objective marker when you go near this area. These 2 enemies are the only other enemies in the entire thing that count towards this triumph, and you have to get the final blow on them for it to count. So you and your teammates are kind of competing for 5 final blows every bonfire bash in order to count towards this triumph. So that's how that works. You also have stuff like complete the bonfire bash activity against all combatant races. You can face them all. I've seen people saying that it's like only Hive today. That's wrong. You can face all of them, obviously, because I have it. Then we're going to get into the more specific kind of, the triumphs where you have to make choices about, what to do. So complete public events at any destination, complete patrols. You can actually do this at the same time, and I would recommend doing this in the throne world with the in the hot seat event challenge. What we were doing was rotating around the throne world and completing public events. As we were completing public events, if we looked on the map and noticed we had time before the next public event, we would actually run the lost sector there as well. And so I guess just to kind of give you some percentages for public events in the hot seat triumph here, a heroic public event gives you 5%, a normal public event gives you 3%, patrols don't seem to give you anything, and lost sectors give you 5%. So ideally you will do 10 heroic public events, which is actually required perfectly for Solstice Jubilee, and 10 lost sectors as well. For the Solstice Jubilee triumph, public events that are heroic give you 10, normal public events seem to give you 6%. So that is important to note as well. So ideally the best way to do this, rotate around the throne world, do 10 heroic public events and 10 lost sectors, and you should get that done in no time, and make sure you're doing patrols at the same time, and you can get this done really fast. Just another pro tip, the scan patrols in the throne world are super fast. You pick them up and they're always like right next to you. So do those as much as possible. The next thing that we kind of had to contemplate is doing Blind Well or Dares of Eternity. Dares of Eternity gives you 25% a run. Blind Well, if you do a tier 3 with the overcharge thing, the unstable charge as well, that's 25 a run. So we just chose to do 4 Blind Wells because then you can also work on your solar, super, and ability kills very easily, because remember, you essentially have unlimited ability energy in the Blind Well. So that's why we chose to do that. But if you're lacking on heavy kills, you can maybe just do a Dares of Eternity instead, since you get essentially unlimited ammo in Dares of Eternity. The thing with just complete playlist activities to earn silver leaves, this will happen naturally, but this brings up an important point. You can hold 100 silver leaves in your inventory at any time. You can just go in your inventory and check. Once you get close to 100, make sure you go run 4 or 5 levels of Bonfire Bash to burn all of those. So every time you run a Bonfire Bash, you can burn up to 20 leaves, and there's actually a tip. So the amount of leaves that you burn corresponds to the amount of things you throw into the fire. If when you get to 19, all 3 players pick up a one of those ignition cores or whatever the heck they're called, and you throw them into the fire at the same time, you can actually get up to 22, burn 22 leaves, and actually get 110 silver ash a run instead. So that might end up, if you do that every time, might end up making it so you have to do 1 fewer run down the road, and that could just save you a little bit of time as well. So that's a cool little tip. So we're gonna keep on going here. Vanguard, Ops, or Nightfalls. So we learned that the heroic and legend version of the Nightfalls both appear to give you 10% on this, so you can run 10 Nightfalls, or regular strikes in the Vanguard Ops playlist gives you 7%, so you can run 15 of those. Honestly, 10 Nightfalls is probably a little bit faster than 15 normal strikes, but if you just kind of want to grind it, 15 strikes is not that bad, and honestly, it doesn't take that much longer. All right, and the next one is going to be 25 Crucible matches or Gambit matches. Please do not do Gambit for this. Do Crucible and do the shortest thing that is available to you that week. So for instance, Mayhem is up this week. 25 Mayhem games probably takes a couple of hours, but it's going to be way faster than like 25 comp games or 25 control games or anything like that. So I would recommend 6 stacking or getting as many people on your fire team as possible, trying to just mercy people as quickly as possible, because this is definitely the longest part of the entire thing. The next and final triumph that we have to look at to actually get the title is going to be a Spark in the Dark, complete Sever missions, or rounds of Altars of Sorrow. Altars of Sorrow is way faster. You get 7% a wave, and our friend got 87% when we did a boss here, so I'm not really sure if that's how much it's supposed to give you or if it just bugged out, but it pretty much, you just do one complete 1 to 5 wave of altars as well as the boss. You should be done here, or at least very close. Now we could talk about gilding. One thing that's important to note is you can actually work on the guilds before you ever earn the title. So for instance, we got the fully stoke the bonfire and bonfire bash activity. That's for banking 20 of those ignition cores or whatever the heck they're called. That will automatically unlock that. And then inextinguishable, complete the bonfire bash activity without dying. That's pretty self-explanatory. So you can get those really early on, and these actually count as 2 of the triumphs towards the seal as well. So you would need 24 out of 28 of these essentially, and it could be any 24 of them, including these. So this could actually help you get the base seal a little bit faster. But then there are 2 pieces of, guilds that maybe people are misinterpreting. So from the ashes, upgrade multiple pieces of Candescent armor. I've seen a lot of people think this means do this on alternate characters. Absolutely not. And this is not referring to kindling, this is referring to the silver ash. So here you'll have a button to kind of upgrade your armor set for silver ash, and you can focus the stats. Once you do that 3 times, you upgrade it with 120 silver ash, and you bring it all the way to where you can focus for a plus 20 stat. That counts as upgrading an armor piece to max. So you do that 12 times. It could be on the same character. Mine was all on Titan. You just have to essentially set the stats of 12 pieces of armor. This is going to cost you 1,440 silver ash, which is why you need to be very efficient while you're grinding for silver leaves and making sure nothing is going to waste. And then finally, the Incandescent Triumph, or the Guild Triumph, requires you to complete a dungeon, raid, master, or Grandmaster Nightfall, or win rounds in Trials of Osiris while wearing fully rekindled Candescent armor. I'm gonna be honest, I used Badu and Karu Shattered Throne final boss CP, and we completed this in 12 seconds. It took 1 completion, super fast. You can just grab CPs and just do a final boss of any of the dungeons should work. Or any of the final bosses of any of the raids should work. I have been told that actually Keitel checkpoints don't work. So if you want to do this, don't do duality for whatever reason. So that's a tip there as well. But this is super easy. So however you want to do it, it just requires 1 dungeon, and I presume 1 raid checkpoint as well. So that is kind of all of the best tips I can think of on how to get Flamekeeper. Once again, 8 to 10 hours of targeted farming if you've got a dedicated fire team. Not too bad, definitely doable in the next 3 weeks. If you guys have any more questions, please let me know down in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer anything and everything. Thank you guys so much. If you are interested in watching either of the 2 videos on screen, you can click their respective annotations to be taken to them. If you're brand new to the channel, make sure the giant version of my logo on screen to be subscribed for more awesome Destiny 2 videos and live streams. Thank you guys so much for watching today, and I will see you in the next video.